Okay, guys, so let's start with a very important topic called block in Python. Now, why this topic is very important is because if you don't understand the concept of blocks in Python, then you will do mistakes in most of the programs henceforth. And not only that, this concept is totally new for you. It was not there in C, it was not there in Java. So be attentive. Okay, so let's start. Now, first of all, let's talk about C and Java programming language. Okay, let's talk about C and Java, or C or Java. So the next thing which you're going to see on your computer screen, it is not the Python programming language, it is the C programming language. Now let's say in C programming language, I write this particular code. So basically what I'm doing is I'm checking a condition over here. If A is greater than equal to 6, I'm writing printf hello, printf world. Now over here, I have some question for you. My question is, just a minute, guys. All right. So over here, I have a question for you, and my question is, which of these two statements will execute if this condition is true, and which of these two statements will execute if this condition is false? So once again, my question is that if this condition is true, which of these two statements will execute? If this condition is false, then which of these two statements will execute? So come on, you can take 10-15 seconds and think in your mind about it and try to answer this question. Come on. All right. So now tell me one thing. If this condition is true, will this printf execute? Yes. Will this printf execute? Yes. All right. Now let's go to false. If this condition is false, will this printf hello execute? Yes. Will printf world execute? No. And that is the biggest thing which you need to understand. By the way, now I'm annotating over here. So please follow this dot right now. Look at this block in yellow color, and below this block, below this B, you see this small dot. Okay. So this is the pointer. This is the mouse pointer, which you now need to follow. Okay. All right. Let me just change the color also. All right. So now guys, what I was saying is that if this condition A greater than equal to 6 is false, okay, this statement will not execute. This statement will not execute. This statement will execute. Once again, if this condition is false, printf hello will not execute. Printf world will still execute. Now you may wonder why printf world will execute. So listen to me carefully. See, what happens is this statement, printf world, it is not a part of the if statement. That means printf world is actually not inside the if statement. Over here, what is happening is the indentation is misleading you. I repeat, the indentation is misleading you. Now, what is the meaning of indentation? So indentation means pushing on the right side to show dependency. Okay. So what we have done is look at this I, look at this I, look at this P. So what we have done is we have pushed this printf to the right of this if. We have pushed this printf to the right of this if. And that is why you get an impression that this printf is a part of this if statement. Please understand one thing, that C and Java, they basically ignore indentation. In C and Java, whenever we use indentation, that indentation is only for better readability, not for the compiler. So this printf, okay, whether you write over here or whether you write here, whether you leave two lines and write, it does not make any difference. All right. Now the question is, listen to me carefully. The next question is, what to do if you want to make both the printfs a part of the if? What to do if you want both the printfs to be a part of the if? So the answer is very simple. Many of you already know the answer. The answer is do this. So you may say, do what? So what you should do is you should put both the printfs inside a pair of braces. And now over here, what you see in yellow color, okay, see what I'm encircling. See what I'm encircling. Now, what you see in this circle, whatever you see over here in this circled part, this is called a block in C and Java. So now how do you define a block in C and in Java? So in C and in Java, a block is a collection of one or more statements. A block is a collection of one or more statements enclosed in a pair of braces. I repeat, a block is a collection of one or more statements enclosed in a pair of braces. So over here, this thing over here is a block, and now this entire block is under this if. So what will happen is, now if this condition is true, then this block will execute. If this condition is false, then this block will not execute. So that way, what we have done is we have made both the printfs as a part of the if statement. Now, since last 5-10 minutes, I was not talking about Python. I was talking about the C programming language. Now, let's turn our attention to Python. Now, listen to me very carefully. Now, the first thing which you must have noticed in Python programs is that in Python programs, we do not use braces. Okay, we do not even put semicolons. I'll just talk about semicolons in a while. Let's talk about braces now. So in Python programs, we never ever put braces. Okay. So then the next question in your mind should be, understand the question, not the answer. The next question in your mind should be that if you don't put braces, in a Python program, then how the Python interpreter will come to know where the block starts and where the block ends. I repeat the question. Listen to the question carefully. The question is that if you don't put braces in a Python program, then how the interpreter will come to know that where the brace starts and where the brace ends. So the answer lies in this statement. So what this statement is telling you, it tells you block begins, I repeat, in Python, block begins when indentation increases and block ends when indentation decreases. I have not displayed the remaining half. So basically it is this way. In Python, block begins when indentation increases and block ends when indentation decreases. Now, I'm sure many of you did not understand this. So to understand that, once again, take an example. By the way, in front of you, I am keeping this example of the C programming language, which you have already seen. Now what we'll do is we will write this segment. We'll write this segment in the Python programming language. Okay, this segment. So one small simple thing. By the way, in the subsequent lectures, we'll be studying the if statement in detail. For time being, just understand that in Python, if you want to write the if statement, you will not put any parenthesis. You will write the keyword if. After the keyword if, you will give a space. Then you will give one condition and then you will give the colon. So this way. This is the way in which you write the Python if statement. So I wrote if, then space, then condition, and then colon. Okay, now be attentive. Now how to give this block in Python? So I'll write if a greater than equal to 6 colon printf hello printf world. Now over here, listen to me carefully. This thing which you see, is a block in Python, Now over here, what happens is when the Python interpreter looks at these two statements, the Python interpreter will automatically understand that these two statements constitute one block. I repeat, the Python interpreter will automatically understand that these two statements constitute one block. So now the question is, how come this is a block, and how the interpreter will understand that these two statements constitute one block? So the answer is very simple. See, the first thing is that we have pushed this printf and this printf to the right of this if. I repeat, we have pushed the two printfs to the right of this if. So basically what we are doing over here is we are giving indentation. Okay, you see this empty space over here. Okay, so basically what we have done is we have given indentation. So in Python, the block begins when indentation increases. Not only that, look at this P, and both of them are in the same column. I hope you know that a computer monitor is divided into several rows and columns. So basically these are the rows and these are the columns. All right. So if you look at this P and this P a little carefully, you'll realize they're in the same column. So if they are in the same column, that means they constitutes a single block. So now what will happen? Very simple. If a greater than equal to 6 is true, the entire block will execute. If a greater than equal to 6 is false, the entire block, that means both the statements will not execute. As simple as that. Now let me see how attentive you are. Let's say I write this. Let's say I write this. Look at the right side. Now the first thing which you need to understand is that what I wrote over here, this thing, okay. What I wrote over here is syntactically correct. It is not wrong. This thing, what I wrote on the right hand side is syntactically correct. That means there is no error in this, but obviously its functioning will be different. Now you try and tell me if this condition is true, printf hello will execute or not execute? Execute. What about printf world? I said printf, but actually it is, I said printf, but actually it is print. This is a Python programming language. By mistake, I have been saying printf. So once again, so if this condition is true, this print will execute. Print hello will execute. Yes. Print world will execute. Yes. Now be attentive. If this condition is false, all right, then print hello will execute. No. Print world will execute. Yes, because now print world is not a part of this block. It is not a part of this block. Why? Because the statement print world is not indented to the right of the if statement. All right. So guys, this was the concept of blocks in Python, but we'll not stop over here. What we'll do is we'll do one very important program, and with the help of that program, we'll understand the concept of blocks better. So I have already given this program to you. And now I'll take that program. Just a minute, guys. So guys, what you can do is I'll wait for you for let's say 30 seconds over here. And meanwhile, what you can do is you can go through this code. Just a minute. Yeah. Now I think you can see the program in front of you. This is the program and this is its output on the right side. On the left side program, on the right side output. So what you can do is you can go through the entire program and just try to figure out how this program will work. So come on, I'll give you 30 seconds for that. Do that. All right. Now let's try and understand this program, and you have to be very, very, very attentive. It is quite interesting and slightly difficult. So in this program, what we are doing is we are asking the user for her age. Okay. Now, if the user's age is 18 or above 18, then we'll ask the user for her nationality. And if her nationality is Indian, then we'll tell the user that you can vote. Okay. Now let's start. So over here, I wrote age is equal to input enter age, and then I have converted this age into integer. By the way, I could have combined statement number 3 and 4 into a single statement. But anyways, I kept it separate. So over here on the right side, you see enter age. Let me enter the age 16. So now tell me what is the value of variable age? 16. Now come to the if statement. Is age greater than equal to 18? The answer over here is false. Okay, age greater than equal to 18, the answer over here is false. And because the answer is false, come on, what will happen? Because the answer is false, all this will not execute. All this will not execute because this block comes under the if statement. It will not execute. Now under the else, this print will execute and it will say not 18. All right. Okay. Now, once again, I will give you a few seconds and you think what will happen if the age is 18 or above 18. Meanwhile, I'll just go and close the door because it's too noisy over here. So sorry, guys. Okay, sorry for that interruption. Okay. Now, all right. So now let's execute this program one more time. And now again, it says enter age. And now I'm going to enter 19. Okay, now let's understand how things will work. Now, if age is 19, then this condition will be true. Now, because this condition will be true, what Python will do is it will execute this entire block. So this thing is considered as one block. This thing is considered as one block. Okay. Now, what will happen is in this block, line number 7 will first display the age. So line number 7 is actually not required, but I just gave it to display the age once again, just as a sake of confirmation. So it will display 19. Then line number 8, it will display you are of what voting age. Let's check your nationality. Then in line number 10, we will display enter nationality and the user will now enter the nationality. So let's do that. So now I hit the enter key. So on the right hand side, I'll hit the enter key after 19. So see, as discussed, you see all these things. Take a few seconds, read this. Now let me enter the nationality. So let's say the nationality over here is let's say American. All right. Okay. So now what will happen is this statement, line number 10. Okay. It will read the nationality of the user. So if you are really attentive, tell me what is the value of N. So N over here is American. Okay. Now line number 11 is again the if else statement and it will check is N equal to Indian? Come on, tell me the answer is true or false. So the answer over here is, come on, what is it? False. Because it is false, this else will execute, and it says 18 but can't vote. So let's see this. All right, now let's execute this program one more time. Okay. And this time let me give 20. Let me give Indian over here. And it says now you can vote. Now, I'm very sure that you all have understood the working of this program, but now let's turn our attention to the concept of blocks over here. Okay, so please be attentive. We have not yet done here. Okay, we have not yet finished this program. Be very, very, very attentive. See over here, as I told you, listen to me carefully. This thing constitutes one block. This thing constitutes one block, and this is the block which comes under if. This thing constitutes another block, and this block comes under else. All right. Okay, now I'll ask you a question, and now I'll come to know whether you are really attentive or not. Now, the print on line number 16, let's say I give it over here. Okay, let's say I give it over here. See, I have changed its location. Okay, do you see the new location? So now this print, this P over here, it is not in the same line as this. It is not in the same column as this. See. Okay, it is not in the same column as this. Okay. So now, can you tell me, will this report an error? Now we are just bothered about syntax error. I'm not bothered about the working now. What do you think? Will it report an error? No, it will not. Okay. So see, I run this program. Sorry. I'll first save this. And I run this. And see, over here you can see the cursor is blinking. It is asking me to enter age. So if it is asking me to enter age, that means there is no syntax error. Okay. Now some of you must be wondering why the syntax error should be there. So don't worry, I'll explain this to you. Now what I will do is I'll keep this over here only. And now see what I'm doing. Now look at the print in line number 8. And I will take that print over here. See where it is now. Do you see the new location of print in line number 8? Okay. Now I'll save this. And I'll again run the program. Okay, guys. Now be very attentive when it says, see, you got one syntax error. It says unindent does not match any outer indentation level. So guys, over here, this is a syntax error. See over here, it clearly says it is syntax error. Now the question is, why did you get this syntax error? Because over here, the indentation is not matching. Now, when I say indentation is not matching, what does it mean? So it's very simple. See, what happens is, listen carefully. The Python interpreter, what it does is, the Python interpreter, it checks whether the condition is true. And if the condition is true, it will come to line number 7. Now, the print of this line number 7, okay, it is in column number 8. Can you see this column number 8 over here? Look at this mouse pointer. Okay. Look at this pen. Look at this pen of mine and see where I'm taking this pen. Now over here, you will see this column number 8. Okay. So what this means is that the print in line number 7 starts at column number 8. So what this means is, it means that now we are starting with a new block in column number 8. But after that, look at the print in line number 8. Now, what is its column number? So its column number is 2. So now what happens over here? The Python interpreter gets confused. Okay, the problem over here is that we have already started with a new block in column number 8. And that's why this print, this print in line number 8 should be a part of that block. All right. And that is why the Python interpreter will report an error. Okay. So now what happens? All these statements, the print in line number 7, the print in line number 8, this line number 10, line number 11, they all should start in column number 8 only. Only then they will be considered a part of the block. All right. Now the next question over here is the ultimate test for you as far as blocks is concerned. If you answer this correctly, that means you understood the concept of blocks. Now look at this if, which is in line number 11. Now under this if, we have given one print which is in line number 12. And this P, it starts in column number 16. By the way, you can check the column numbers from here. Look at my pen. Below my pen, you will see the line number and the column number below the pen. Okay. So this print over here of line number 12 starts in column number what, 16. Okay. Now over here, what we are doing is, listen to me carefully. In line number 12, we are starting with a new block. And this new block is under the if statement, which is in line number 11. I repeat, the new block is under the if statement, which is in line number 11. Now comes the ultimate question. Now under this else, in line number 14, there is one more print. Okay. So let's say I start this print over here. Okay. Let's say I start this print over here. Can you see its new position? It is starting in line number, in column number 10. So guys, tell me one thing. Now, will the Python interpreter report an error? Come on, think. Meanwhile, let me save this. Let's see. I'll run the program. If you see the output, that means there is no error. Did you see enter age? Yes, you saw. Let me even complete the program so that you have no doubts at all. See. All right. Is it executing correctly and entirely? Yes. Okay. So that means this did not report an error. So now the question in your mind could be that why there was no error? Come on, think about it before I tell you. See, the answer is very simple. When you wrote this else of line number 13, when you wrote the else of line number 13, now under that else, you are starting with a new block. And this new block can come anywhere from here onwards. Okay. So if you want, you can put it here also. I mean, let's see whether you can put it here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I have saved it. And now I'll run this. Can you put it here? No, obviously not. Why? Because now the print of line 14 is exactly below the E of line 13. So you cannot put it here, but let's say, can you put it here? See, now it is in column number 9. Okay, now it is under L. Okay, so I save it and I run it. What do you think? Now when I run it, will it report an error? Come on, this time you should give me the correct answer. No. All right, now no error. So guys, if you understood this line number 14, okay, then you have understood the concept of blocks. This line number 14 does not report an error now because this is a completely new block which is under the else of line number 13. So I can give it in any column from column number 9 onwards. Look, the column numbers are given here. So I can give it in column number 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It does not make a difference. One more time, I'll run it. You see enter age over here. That means no syntax error. All right. Guys, finally, I will end this topic and this lecture with one very interesting observation philosophy of Python. And that is, read this comment over here, guys. What did I write over here? It says Python forces you to write beautiful programs. Now, what exactly do I mean when I say this? Please be attentive. Okay, it is something very interesting. See, let's take example of C language. Now I'll write some C language code over here. Okay. Now let's say I write if age greater than equal to 18, if age greater than equal to 18, all right. Let's say I'm writing two statements. I'm writing printf if age greater than equal to 18, printf, all right, something, printf something, all right. And then once again, I write printf. This is a C language. I'm writing something, all right. Okay, guys. Now, what am I trying to explain you? See, now let's say this is the C language code. You're doing C programming. Now, if you're doing C programming, you could have written this code this way. Or you could have even written this code this way. See what I did? Or you could have written this code this way. This way. All right. And all the ways in which I showed you just now are correct. That means you can write the code in any way you want. All right. So what happens is that when you write the code in C and Java compilers, they don't force you to write the code in a particular manner. Why? Because in C and Java, we use braces, and the braces decide that which statement is under which statement. Now, what happens is that in Python, braces are not used. So you are automatically forced to use indentation. And when you use indentation, you automatically create beautiful programs. Okay. And that is one of the best philosophies of Python. I am a hardcore C and Java programmer, but the best thing which I like about Python is this philosophy of Python where it forces you to write a beautiful program. So if you're writing Python, you cannot write the code this way. You will have to write the code this way. All right. Why? Because in Python, the block starts when indentation increases. So you will have to give the indentation. And when you give the indentation, automatically your code will look very nice. All right. Finally, one small thing about the semicolon. Now, I hope you must have realized that in Python statements, we do not give semicolons. All right. So you just write the statement. But let's say I give a semicolon over here. See what I'm doing? I give a semicolon over here. All right. Now let's execute this program. I have saved it. Okay. Now I'm executing the program. So tell me one thing. Is the program working? Yes, of course. Now many teachers will tell you that you should not give semicolon in Python. So actually that is not the rule. The rule is you need not give a semicolon in Python. Whether you give the semicolon, you do not give the semicolon, it does not matter. Why? Because as I told you, in Python, the place where you write the statement, that is important. Okay. So you have written these two statements in two different lines. So that's why the semicolon over here is optional. But wait for a minute. Let's say I do this. I remove the semicolon. Listen to me carefully now. Something interesting. And I write this statement here. Now I save this and I run this. Does it give an error? Yes, it gives an error because we wrote two statements on a single line. Okay. But wait, not over. Now let's say I give a semicolon here. Okay, now I'll run this. See over here carefully, it's asking me to enter age. So I give quickly 19 and Indian this way. So now tell me one thing. Finally, if I write the statement this way in Python, are they working? Yes, they're working. So what Python is telling you that, look guys, if you want to write multiple statements on the same line, then only you use the then semicolon is compulsory. I repeat, the rule of Python is that if you want to write multiple statements on the same line, then semicolon is compulsory. Otherwise, semicolon is optional. So guys, why we should do this? Anyway, our aim is to create beautiful programs. So we might as well remove the semicolon and we'll write different statements on different lines. So we go ahead with the philosophy of Python. All right. So this was the concept of blocks over here. So we'll stop over here. Hope you guys have a great weekend. So take care. Bye.